Hey, I'm David Perrotto with Perrotto Private Wealth, and I'm here with Margot from Margot's Bookkeeping Services. And, being working with a lot of professionals like Margot, I always like to talk and see how they're running their businesses, how they're experiencing other clients, and how they're doing things differently than someone who you may not know or have heard of. So, Margot, why don't you tell a little bit about yourself and tell me how you started?
So first off, thanks for having me today. I'm really excited for this. We've been talking about this for a little while, and it's great to get this opportunity. I started MBS about 15 years ago. I grew up and I always had a passion and a love for numbers. And throughout my journey of life, I just felt that there was more to numbers than a dollar just being a dollar. And I wanted to help people understand more about the accounting jargon and really help them through their money breakthroughs and be able to accomplish more out of life. I also just feel through numbers, people can empower themselves so much and accomplish their goals. So I've created MBS, and here I am 15 years later, helping people with brand new things that they've never thought were possible.
Man, that's a big issue, right? With a lot of clients and a lot of customers, they don't really understand accounting jargon. They don't really understand taxes. They don't really understand bookkeeping. They don't really understand payroll and how it works and how it affects them and how they could either save money or they can grow their businesses or automate their businesses differently through bookkeeping and accounting, correct?
Yeah, because it starts with a major panic. People look at their numbers and they just feel this instant panic because they feel like this internal judgment or like a review. And it's something that most people avoid. But what happens is when you look at the numbers, it's not about a judgment or about a review. It's more so how to help you get the most out of life. Because when you do see past that, what happens is that it brings out your full potential. It's not avoiding things and just leaving it to the side. And a lot of people, it's more so of that instant strain before that they can see past it. There's plenty of people out there that, just want to know, but then they have an issue of dealing with it. But the important thing is to realize that whoever you choose for the task is that you're comfortable being open with them, because it's another form of a relationship to build to help you form your business or on a personal level.
It's true. And it brings accountability, right? That's what it comes down to as well.
It definitely brings accountability because it helps keep you on your tippy toes. And even me, I feel at times like I need someone checking me, so like I have my internal team help me with different tasks to keep myself because I spend a lot of time helping my clients, and MBS needs TLC too. So, and the longevity of things, it's creating task lists and stuff like that to keep you on target.
Where did you see the shift in when you were working as a, entry level to where you finally felt you had that experience and you were able to grow MBS to where you wanted to be today?
So an entry level bookkeeper is somebody who is kind of like just a technician. It's more about just the posting and the day-to-day like shuffling paper idea. But it gets the business owner's mind rolling. So once you have that grouping together with that person, what happens is that all those holes that we leave for like a rainy day get taken care of. So tasks like invoicing and handling payroll is a bookkeeping task. MBS now offers more of the full-fledged services, which is accounting and outsourced CFO solutions. Accounting is where the bookkeeper takes, where An accountant takes off for where a bookkeeper would leave off. So a company that's around $500,000 or more generally needs to think larger in terms of having a bookkeeper and or even a CFO. In my company, we have the 3 roles combined where we can take you from the bookkeeping component all the way to the CFO, so you have a streamless energy and workflow to help you through that.
And you're automating it as well as you're outsourcing it, so it's more better for the client and it's cheaper than having someone inside paying someone a salary inside the company itself, right? You're getting your you're bringing in, and you're getting it where it's outsourced and it's mostly automated, so you don't have to worry about it as the employer, right? That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, because let's say tackling the cheaper concept, you don't have to micromanage them. You don't have to worry about benefits. You don't have to worry about vacation days, because all of that is a true cost. Outsourcing it just gives you the capabilities of a solution 5 days or even 7 days a week. Not even businesses that are $1 million, you don't need someone full time. What happens is people combine the tasks with stuff that is not in the category to fill the time, but it's not their specific tasks.
Right.
So if you delegate just the tasks, it becomes more goal-oriented and specific for what you need. And
time-oriented, where it's just someone working, taking up the time to do something and costing more money for something that could be done a lot quicker that you don't need to pay someone for.
Right, because also with the outsourced solution, you have access to the people 7 days a week, right, and you're getting a team. You're not just getting the one person. When you don't have just the one person, you're getting a pool of knowledge and a pool of support.
Big difference. As opposed to just having one employee do it, where you're relying everything on that one employee.
Right, because your ball is all in one court.
Or your all eggs in one basket.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very cool.
So as you grow to that $1 million mark, 750 plus, you need to think larger. Even companies sometimes at 250, they jump to the million in a matter of like 60 days, because they could be having a pipeline that all of a sudden funnels through. So, depending on where you're at, it's an important task to put thought in and not just say, because I'm not big, that I don't need it.
Right. And I think that's probably a very big misconception, right?
Yeah. Yeah. People have this vision of, I'm not large, I'm small, I'm not big enough. And they have all these justifications. But what happens is it's just avoiding them getting into the true facts, because chances are they have something deeper that they're trying to avoid. Or they feel that there has to be enough sales. That's the biggest one. And as it's great to generate revenue, having the support of accounting solutions gives you that ability to move forward and upwards. Because if you don't know your numbers, you could be moving forward and then losing money and then falling down that mountain pretty quickly.
Or you don't even know you're falling down the mountain because you're not really paying attention to it.
Right. Right.
So in that sense, what would you think a small business owner looks for in a capable bookkeeper?
So the first thing, as I would say, is that they can open up to the person freely. They can imagine themselves talking to them and connecting with them. And it's a different way of looking at a bookkeeper, because people think like, oh, she's just doing that. But if you don't find yourself in a situation where you can be truthful to the person, they're always going to be wrong in your eyes.
That's true. or you're just not going to be honest and open and truthful, and the numbers aren't going to add up to what you're saying, right? If you're an employer, you're a small business owner, you're saying something, and the numbers aren't adding up to what you're saying, then you're only lying to yourself at that point, and you're only hurting yourself more and not being accountable.
Right, because it's almost like you're conscious and your subconscious talking, because your subconscious wants to, and your conscious, like they're like click clack and fighting with each other. So if you don't feel you want to be near the person, or like you just feel like even skeeved, back in the day, choosing a bookkeeper or an accountant was more about memorization and not really applying it to life. People used to think, used to have your report card meant a lot. What school you went. And a lot of those things are still valid, but it's more so taking what you know and being able to apply it to the business.
Sure.
Like I see a lot of businesses where the accountant, even though they're doing the work, it holds them back. For instance, they want to write a check. My bookkeeper is not in today. That's bogus. A business owner has to have access all of the time, no matter if the staff member is there or not. The accounting task is to support them, that the business doesn't stop. The accounting function, there's so many different ways to do things that it has to support you and not stop it. Another few things is if you are specialized in an industry, like I happen to specialize a lot in the real estate and the construction industry. So a lot of people come to me on that industry. I work a lot with entrepreneurs. I work a lot with designers, architects. So those type of lawyers, service-based. So those industries come to me. You also want a person who has a good head on their shoulders, that if something comes up, that you feel that they're going to take the initiative and do the research. So if you're micromanaging them and you're telling them how to do the job, chances are that person is not going to do the research. They're going to leave it on your plate as the business owner instead of taking that next level and saying, hey, let me work on this and let me get back to you. Which in many ways, I'm doing this for over a decade. I've had to look up things. I mean, the tax code is thousands of pages. And then now the recent tax, right. It has changed. And you want people to get the most to-date knowledge. So you don't want to be that person scrambling your end. You want someone who is going to keep you up to par and be able to support you and do the research.
Right. And also with that, if you're micromanaging, right, as the owner of the business, you're micromanaging, you're going to still have the same blind spots that you had before, because you're just basically telling somebody what to do at that point and not really letting someone run that part of the business and help you grow it, right? That's what it comes down to, right?
Right, because you're almost doing it yourself, and that person is not letting you go on the field and make money.
Correct. Doing what the owner does best.
Right. Like when I meet with my clients, I have my meeting notes before, I have my questions, I have my update, so that they're getting that check-in and not the complete world of information. It's in a more unified way that they can use the information for support on the field. So let's say my contractors, they need to know their profit on the jobs. So if I'm not managing their credit card, their income of how much money their clients gave them, they don't need me, because they can sit there and do a quick calculation and answer it. But if I'm not there when they need me, then I'm on the unemployment line.
Yeah, it's true. It seems like you're all, from being where you were just a bookkeeper now to running a full service firm. It's also like you're more of a consultant too. You're almost like a coach to people, these business owners as well, because you have that experience. So you've seen probably many things in that 15 years, and you can help those employers as well. So you're also bringing that to the table, as opposed to someone that's just doing the numbers. Correct? Would you say that's? something that's
Yeah, it's huge because it's a matter of, I can give people 1,000 tax tips. I can tell people to they're blue in the face to change, but the consulting or the coaching component that you see is built in. It's fixing the behavior, and then the workflow falls. So that's where the team by my end works, because I can take you from the bookkeeping to the CFO and build you from step one up. So if something falls on the ladder as the business owner, if I'm on vacation or if I didn't answer them in that moment, they can look at the ladder that we've built and be able to say like, oh, I think Margot would take me here. But it's not even just Margot, them knowing it themselves and building that strength in the business overall.
Right, that makes sense. So you dealt with probably thousands of clients in 15 years as an experienced bookkeeper, and that means most likely you had to fix probably many other people's problems. What are some of the red flags that pop out to you when you see owners in their companies, and how should it be addressed the right way?
So the right way is always a challenging question because everybody has their own way. The first red flag is when a business owner tells me that they've had 5 bookkeepers in the past 2 years. Yeah. It's not necessarily common, but it's out there.
Right.
Another one is people use the same credit card in 2 different ways. They use it for business and personal, or, which I call that, you need the separation of powers. Or I have, let's say in my real estate sector, they have multiple entities. So let's say someone has 4 entities, they're using the same credit card for all entities.
And now everything's just all over the place. Then you'll have personal expenses that shouldn't be personal. You're going through it, and it throws everything off.
Well, it's like a one big pot of like a stew that has it's like the whole kitchen in one pot. So imagine now you need to pay your mortgage, your Amex bill. Where is the money coming from? And then the business owner was like, I have no money. Oh my God. I don't know what my cash flow is. Of course you don't know what your cash flow is. You bought your kid a bike and you paid your writer on the same card. And then you paid your property manager on that same credit card too. So it's just a big stew of sauce and vegetables, and you're trying to get the organic diet and the vegan diet all in one.
And it just blows it all up.
Yeah, it's not giving you the growth you desire.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's, as you said, that's more of a behavioral issue, right? Where you're training people to do it differently. You're teaching them to do it differently.
Because behavior is kind of the red flags.
Right.
They kind of go hand in hand. For instance, a lot of people have where they didn't separate their income and their expenses on their financials. They have their payroll taxes in bank fees. Right. And then all of a sudden you look at payroll and bank fees and it's like $25,000 and you're like, how many checks are you bouncing?
Right.
But these are common things that people do. So it's a combination of not wanting to know,
right,
lazy, and then it's also blaming the external world.
Yep.
I put all of these, like I also wrote down, people also, they put a lot of travel and there's no business destination on them. They just put like everything in their mother and travel, and it's not.
Right, it's not real. It's fugazi. Right.
Yeah.
I bet that happens a lot.
It's funny because they'll be like, oh, I need to stop for coffee while I thought about my client that was in Tahoe. And that's why I needed the coffee, Margot. And, you know, all sorts of these funky stories. Right.
Applying. So I would say it's extremely important to work with someone who has technical skills to be successful in their bookkeeping position. While some people may be good at passing exams and racking up bookkeeping certifications or additional accounting certifications, they may not have the mindset to be able to actually use those skills in the real world. Right? Would you agree with that? Just like anything else, you could get all the certifications in my field and everything, become a CFP, but if you don't use it in the real world or know how to apply it, it really doesn't matter, right?
Yeah, because, you know, I was personally never the person about getting 100. Like, my grades were always, I guess this is like a truth bomb. My grades were always like 75, 80. You know, I didn't have that 4.0 average, not even close.
Don't let your kids hear this.
Huh?
Don't let your kids hear that.
Right. But I was able to take what I learned, and my mind was always questioning it, because people would take what they learned from school and they would memorize it. But I would take what I learned and apply it to real life. So someone who knows what they're doing, you will feel it right away that they're able to do it, and you don't have to micromanage them. And you're going to be able to trust that they could 10x the business in that sense too. Because if someone's doing something out of memorization, they're just saying, I'm doing this because. They're not explaining to you deep root of the business. So someone who will solve your pain and communicate the value and conceptually in real life show you how it applies to you, that's where that's what you should be looking for to help you in that support.
Right. It's almost as I learned X, so I'm just going to apply it to Y, as opposed to I understand X and I'm going to apply it this way because for this person, this is what's right. Not everything is the same as you learned in school, where it's, you know, it's never always the same. Everybody's different.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, people also have this theory that they only do accounting year end. And the whole year they're blaming the accountant, and they never even spoke to us.
It's true. You're absolutely right. And you know, you look at a lot of people and they're like, you know, my accountant's reactive. My bookkeeper's reactive. And it's like, no, you're the problem because you want that relationship to be reactive and not a proactive relationship over the year. And like, no one stops those owners and business owners and clients from picking up the phone and getting something done. Right. It's more of the people not doing it and then complaining, like you said, complaining about external issues, right? Blaming the external world for the problems.
Right, instead of looking within and saying, what am I doing that's causing this? Because I'll give you a quick story. I was in a store one day and something just told me to go in. And she goes, Margot, what do you do? So I told her, and she goes, it just jumped into laser focus, a ton of complaints about her accountant. And I said to her, Susie, I don't remember her name, you know, just for today. I said, Susie, did the mail come? And she goes, yeah. Like she thought I was retarded asking this question. And I said to her, how did it go in the mail? What came today? Margot, you don't even know. And I said, tell me, I'm here. And my order, I'm racking up salads that I don't need. I was just trying to help her. And I said to her, tell me what happened in the mail. Margot, I just want to tell you, my accountant doesn't do anything for me. I can't pay the rent. I have the electric bill that's behind. And she just kept going on and on and on. And I said to her, does your accountant know? And she says, no. Said, do you know where your accountant's office is or where she lives or he lives? No. Did you open up to her and tell her the hardships and maybe different ways No, she doesn't care.
Oh,
You know, we're not built to ask.
right.
And that's another thing with the behavior is it's looking within and saying to ourselves, what do we need to get there? And taking those steps.
It's true. You're absolutely right. So for many, when people hear of accountant, bookkeeper, they think of someone punching numbers 12 hours a day and not really interacting much with the employees. Would you say this is true?
Back in the day, yeah. But these days, you can still find that person, but it's your choice as a business owner to make that choice. The person who's punching the numbers, that's just a bookkeeper and is not going to move you far.
Yeah.
So that's like a business that's like 150,000, 200,000, 300,000. And even then it depends on your business goals. Because sometimes like like my attorneys, they could be like, I've had attorneys at 200,000, but then they skyrocket to 1,000 because of all the strategy that we're building in. So somebody that's just punching numbers, that's the person who had the 4.0 average. And I know it's kind of like a status that I'm saying, but a person that it's all built on that type of person who's doing it. But there's so much more to accounting than just punching the numbers. If you give it that chance and you give it that connection and you build that relationship with a person to help you get there. Because here we are at July 5th, and if you didn't reach your business goals, chances are your numbers can help support you and tell you why. So that you don't have that New Year's resolution thing in January where, oh, I'm going to make $1 million. And then when it comes to December, you're depressed that you can't. Because if you didn't manage it along the road, you're at your own fault.
Right. And it's almost like, just like you said, it's like this 6-month point right here, click, boom. You can have a snapshot of what you've done over the last 6 months, and people don't really reflect on that. And like you said, it's not about asking. It's the business owner's job to do that. It's the business owner's job to look into themselves, say, hey, listen, this is where I am. Where do you think I should be? What do you think we could do? How do the numbers look? Where are my blind spots? Right?
Absolutely. It's taking ownership, because I find many business owners, they're like damaged from bookkeeping and accounting because they're blaming so much the person who is helping them. And they don't take ownership of what happened, because at the end of the day, it's your business. Like Margot's bookkeeping, it's my business. If I want it to be successful, it's on me to help make that happen. So for instance, I have help in my office, and if I want them to do the tasks, I have it written out for them, and I even create them Loom videos to support them so that when they're doing the tasks and I'm not there, they have a holding place to go back to of information so that they know what to do and where to go.
That makes sense. So any last words for anyone who you think needs bookkeeping services?
So there's always extra. So I'm going to bring it down to 4 things. And the first thing I say is trust your instincts. Mm-hmm. If something is wrong, follow it. I just onboarded a client a few weeks ago, and I'll tell you the pain that he's going through because he didn't listen to his instinct. It's terrible. And every call and every experience is more heart-wrenching than the other in different ways. The second thing is, and I'm jumping into it, is like, there really just is no other way in a business without having the support 365 days a year. Your business is going to break down if you don't have the support all the year. Sure. Because if you're going to wait till year end and have those surprises, you're going to keep being in that loop of that never-ending rat race circle of not getting results, or having the should-have syndrome, which is even worse, because you're just going to look at the results and you're going to say, I should have, should have, should have. And you only have yourself to blame. The third thing is, if you're looking for results, you just need to imagine you and the results and how that would feel. You need to wake up every day with that empowering feeling of like, these are the results I want. How can I stretch myself today for one thing? And maybe in 30 days into that process, you can stretch yourself 2 things. But you start yourself and say, how can I stretch myself? If I want the business, if I have a 250 business and I want 500, what can I push myself today? And break it down for the week. You know, like I had troubles for a while, I'll be honest, asking for referrals. My business always evolved through SEO and email campaigns and outside, but I'll be honest, it was hard for me to ask for referrals. And somebody suggested my coach represented the process, and he said, do 1 a day. And I'll tell you, out of the thousands of things that he taught me, but this advice stuck with me. And I want to share it here is, you know, if you're looking for the services, it's not a complete answer, but if we answer just one thing, it's the start and it builds from there.
It's like pushing a snowball down a mountain, right? It's that one thing and it snowballs down, right? And it gets bigger and bigger as you go throughout the weeks, the months, and the years.
Right. Right. Because once you have that step 1, we build on step 2 and 3 and so on. And it only gets better from there. And the tax savings that you build from that, you have for a lifetime.
True.
The last thing I'm going to leave is your mission in life, in your business. You want to attack and conquer it. And internally, if that's what you want, you don't want to depend on the outside world. You want to depend internally and build that trust with someone and be able to have that support factor to give you that fulfillment in the business that you long for and that you desire. If you wake up every day and your mission is like giving you sweats, you have to think about it in such a way that the mission is going to drive you forward and not hold you back. And find that person who's going to support you.
Which are, I think, all 4 are pretty huge things in any business for anybody to be able to drive their business forward and to actually grow their business as opposed to holding themselves back, right? I think those 4 key things could help any business at all.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, so this is great, Margot. I appreciate you doing this for me. I appreciate, having me, do this. And, I think it gave us a broad view of your business, what we should look for in experience, full service bookkeeping services and, why people should go to Margot's bookkeeping services as opposed to somebody else.
Yep. If you guys are listening, I'd love to have you hop on a call with me. No pressure. If you have a problem, we can tackle that problem and then take you to that next level. I love helping people. My mission is really to help as many business owners as I can for you to break through and really see those numbers as value and accomplish those goals and 10x the business.
Great.